Hello and welcome everyone to our podcast on opportunities for chartered accountants in internal audit. I'm thrilled to be here today to discuss this evolving field.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Today we're diving into how the role of chartered accountants in internal audit has transformed beyond traditional financial audits.
Absolutely. It's fascinating how internal audit has shifted from a purely financial focus to a more holistic approach. What's your take on this evolution?
Well, I've noticed that internal audit now encompasses a much broader scope. It's not just about financial statements anymore, it's about risk management, business operations, and even strategic objectives.
That's spot on. And speaking of risk management, it's become increasingly crucial in today's business environment. How do you see CAs fitting into this expanded role?
Chartered accountants are uniquely positioned to add value in this evolving field. Their financial expertise, combined with analytical skills, makes them ideal for assessing and managing various types of risks.
Absolutely. CAs bring a depth of financial knowledge that's invaluable when evaluating internal controls and business operations. But how do you think this impacts their day-to-day work?
Great question. I've seen CAs now getting involved in areas like operational audits, compliance reviews, and even IT audits. It's a significant expansion of their traditional role.
That's fascinating. It seems like the boundaries between different types of audits are blurring. Do you think this trend will continue?
Definitely. In fact, I believe we'll see more integration of financial, operational, and compliance audits in the future. CAs will need to be versatile and adaptable to these changes.
Speaking of adaptability, what skills do you think are becoming increasingly important for CAs in internal audit?
Well, beyond financial acumen, I'd say data analytics, risk assessment, and even soft skills like communication are becoming crucial. CAs need to be able to translate complex findings into actionable insights for management.
That's a great point. It reminds me of a recent case where a CA-led internal audit team uncovered significant operational inefficiencies by analyzing cross-departmental data. Their recommendations led to substantial cost savings.
That's an excellent example of how CAs are adding value beyond traditional financial audits. It shows how their role is becoming more strategic and forward-looking.
Absolutely. Now let's dive into the essential skills that CAs bring to internal audit roles. Financial acumen is obviously a given, but what other skills do you think are crucial?
Well, analytical skills are paramount. CAs need to be able to interpret complex data and identify trends that might not be immediately apparent. This is especially important when dealing with large datasets in modern businesses.
Agreed. And speaking of modern businesses, risk assessment capabilities have become increasingly important, haven't they?
Definitely. CAs need to be able to identify and evaluate various business risks, not just financial ones. For example, they might need to assess cybersecurity risks or regulatory compliance risks.
That's a great point. It reminds me of a recent case where a CA-led internal audit team identified a significant cybersecurity vulnerability in a company's supply chain management system. Their proactive approach potentially saved the company from a major data breach.
That's an excellent example of how CAs are expanding their role. But let's not forget about communication skills. How important do you think they are in internal audit?
Communication skills are absolutely critical. CAs need to be able to articulate their findings and recommendations effectively to various stakeholders, from the board of directors to operational managers.
I couldn't agree more. I've seen cases where brilliant audit findings were poorly communicated, resulting in recommendations not being implemented effectively.
That's a great observation. On a similar note, how do you see technology proficiency playing a role in modern internal audit practices?
Technology proficiency is becoming increasingly important. CAs need to be familiar with data analytics tools and audit software to effectively analyze large volumes of data and identify patterns or anomalies.
Absolutely. I've seen cases where CAs using advanced data analytics tools were able to uncover fraudulent activities that traditional sampling methods might have missed.
That's fascinating. It really shows how these skills come together in practice. CAs are using their financial acumen, analytical skills, and technology proficiency to add significant value to organizations.
Now let's shift our focus to risk management, a critical area where chartered accountants can make a significant impact. What types of risks do you think CAs are most equipped to handle?
Well, there are several types of risks that CAs are well positioned to address. Financial risks are obviously in their wheelhouse, but they're also increasingly involved with operational, strategic, and compliance risks.
That's a great point. Could you elaborate on how CAs contribute to managing these different risk types?
Certainly. For financial risks, CAs can assess the accuracy of financial reporting and identify potential fraud. In terms of operational risks, they can evaluate the efficiency of business processes and internal controls.
And what about strategic and compliance risks?
For strategic risks, CAs can analyze the financial implications of business decisions. As for compliance risks, they can ensure the organization adheres to regulatory requirements and industry standards.
That's comprehensive. Speaking of which, I've heard that CAs are playing a crucial role in developing risk assessment frameworks. What's your take on this?
Absolutely. CAs are instrumental in creating robust risk assessment frameworks. They bring a structured approach to identifying, evaluating, and prioritizing risks across the organization.
Could you give us an example of how such a framework might work in practice?
Sure, a typical risk assessment framework might involve steps like identifying potential risks, assessing their likelihood and potential impact, and determining appropriate risk responses. CAs can quantify these risks and provide data-driven insights.
That's fascinating. It reminds me of a case study I recently came across. A CA-led risk management initiative actually saved a multinational corporation from a potential regulatory disaster. Are you familiar with this case?
I believe I am. Was this the case where the CA team identified a significant compliance risk in the company's international operations?
That's the one. The CA team's proactive risk assessment uncovered inconsistencies in regulatory compliance across different countries. Their timely intervention prevented hefty fines and reputational damage.
It's a great example of how CAs can add value beyond traditional financial roles. Their ability to understand complex regulations and assess their financial implications was crucial in this case.
Absolutely. It also highlights the importance of having a comprehensive risk management strategy. How do you think CAs can contribute to implementing such strategies?
CAs can play a key role in implementing risk management strategies. They can help prioritize risks based on potential financial impact, develop mitigation plans, and monitor the effectiveness of risk controls.
That makes sense. And I imagine their analytical skills come in handy when it comes to reporting on risk management efforts to stakeholders.
Definitely. CAs can provide clear data-driven reports on risk exposure and mitigation efforts. This transparency is crucial for building stakeholder confidence and informed decision-making.
Now let's shift our focus to another crucial area where chartered accountants excel: auditing internal controls and business operations. How do you see CAs contributing in this domain?
Well, CAs play a vital role in evaluating and improving internal controls and business operations. Their expertise is crucial in ensuring operational efficiency and preventing fraud.
Absolutely. Could you elaborate on the importance of robust internal controls in an organization?
Certainly, robust internal controls are essential for preventing fraud, ensuring accurate financial reporting, and maintaining operational efficiency. They act as safeguards against potential risks and errors in business processes.
That's a great point. Speaking of which, what techniques do CAs typically use to assess the effectiveness of these internal controls?
CAs often use a combination of methods. They might conduct interviews with key personnel, perform walkthroughs of processes, test transactions, and use data analytics to identify anomalies or patterns.
Interesting. How do you think CAs can contribute to process improvement and operational audits beyond just assessing controls?
CAs can add significant value by identifying inefficiencies in business processes, recommending improvements, and helping to implement best practices. Their analytical skills allow them to see the big picture and suggest strategic enhancements.
That reminds me of a real-world example I came across recently. A CA-led operational audit resulted in significant cost savings for a manufacturing company. Are you familiar with this case?
I believe I am. Was this the case where the CA team identified inefficiencies in the company's supply chain management?
That's the one. The CA team's comprehensive audit revealed opportunities for streamlining inventory management and optimizing production schedules. Their recommendations led to a 15% reduction in operational costs.
It's a great example of how CAs can add value beyond traditional financial assessments. Their ability to analyze complex operational data and translate it into actionable insights was crucial in this case.
Absolutely. It also highlights the importance of operational audits in today's business environment. How do you think CAs can prepare themselves for these types of audits?
CAs need to develop a deep understanding of business processes across various industries. They should also enhance their data analytics skills and stay updated on emerging technologies that can improve operational efficiency.
Now let's shift our focus to a critical aspect of internal audit: ensuring compliance with strategic, financial, and regulatory objectives. How do you see chartered accountants contributing to this multifaceted challenge?
Excellent topic. Chartered accountants play a crucial role in navigating the complex landscape of compliance. They're uniquely positioned to understand and balance the three pillars: strategic, financial, and regulatory compliance.
Could you elaborate on these three pillars? How do they interact in practice?
Certainly. Strategic compliance ensures that an organization's activities align with its long-term goals. Financial compliance focuses on accurate reporting and adherence to accounting standards. Regulatory compliance deals with following laws and industry regulations.
That's a comprehensive overview. How do CAs typically approach balancing these often competing objectives?
CAs often use a risk-based approach. They assess the potential impact of non-compliance in each area and prioritize accordingly. It's about finding the right balance to meet all objectives without compromising the organization's efficiency or growth.
That makes sense. Speaking of growth, I recently came across a case study about a CA helping a fintech startup navigate complex regulatory environments. Are you familiar with this?
Yes, I believe I know the case you're referring to. It's a great example of how CAs can add value in rapidly evolving industries. Could you share more details?
Of course. The CA in question helped the startup develop a compliance framework that satisfied regulatory requirements across multiple jurisdictions while still allowing for rapid growth. Their approach involved continuous monitoring and adaptive strategies.
That's an excellent example. It highlights how CAs can be strategic partners in growth, not just compliance enforcers. Their ability to interpret complex regulations and translate them into practical business strategies is invaluable.
Absolutely. On a similar note, how do you see CAs aligning internal audit activities with an organization's strategic goals?
CAs can play a key role in this alignment. They can design audit plans that focus on key strategic initiatives, assess risks related to strategic objectives, and provide insights that inform strategic decision-making.
That's a great point. It seems like CAs are increasingly involved in strategic discussions at the highest levels of organizations.
Definitely. Their unique perspective, combining financial acumen with a broad understanding of business operations and risks, makes them valuable contributors to strategic planning.
Now let's shift our focus to how technology is revolutionizing internal audit practices. It's an exciting time for chartered accountants in this field, isn't it?
Absolutely. The impact of technology on internal audit has been transformative. Data analytics and artificial intelligence, in particular, are changing the game. How do you see these technologies enhancing audit processes?
Well, data analytics allows CAs to analyze entire datasets rather than just samples. This means they can identify patterns, anomalies, and risks that might have been missed using traditional methods. AI takes this a step further by automating certain audit tasks and even predicting potential issues.
That's fascinating. It seems like these technologies are not only improving efficiency, but also the effectiveness of audits. Can you give an example of how CAs are leveraging these tools in practice?
Certainly. I recently heard about a CA-led team that implemented a data analytics program for a large retail chain. They were able to uncover significant irregularities in inventory management that traditional auditing methods had missed. It's a great example of how technology can enhance audit capabilities.
That's impressive. It really shows the power of these tools when used effectively. Speaking of which, what are some of the emerging tools and software specifically designed for internal audit?
There are quite a few. We're seeing the rise of continuous auditing software, which allows for real-time monitoring of transactions. There are also advanced visualization tools that help auditors present complex data in more understandable ways.
That's interesting. It seems like CAs need to stay on top of these technological advancements to remain competitive. How do you think they can best integrate these tools into their audit practices?
Great question. I think it's about more than just adopting the tools. It's about rethinking audit processes to fully leverage technology. CAs need to develop new skills like data analysis and interpretation to make the most of these advancements.
Absolutely. It's not just about the tools, but how we use them. Do you think this technological shift is changing the role of CAs in organizations?
Definitely. I believe it's elevating the role of CAs from traditional auditors to strategic advisors. With these tools, they can provide more insightful, forward-looking analysis to help organizations make better decisions.
That's an exciting prospect. It seems like technology is opening up new opportunities for CAs in internal audit. Speaking of which, how do you think CAs can position themselves as strategic advisors to organizations?
Well, I think it starts with developing a deep understanding of the business and its strategic objectives. CAs need to be able to translate their technical knowledge and insights from data analytics into actionable recommendations that align with the organization's goals.
That makes sense. It's about bridging the gap between complex data and practical business strategies. Do you have any examples of CAs successfully making this transition?
Actually, I do. I recently heard about a CA who used predictive analytics to help a manufacturing company optimize its supply chain. Their insights led to significant cost savings and improved efficiency, positioning them as a valuable strategic partner to the organization.
That's a great example. It really illustrates how CAs can leverage technology to add value beyond traditional audit functions. As we wrap up, what advice would you give to CAs looking to stay ahead in this evolving field?
As we shift our focus to chartered accountants as strategic advisors, it's clear that the role of CAs in internal audit has evolved significantly. How do you see CAs transitioning from traditional auditors to trusted advisors?
You're right, the evolution is remarkable. CAs are increasingly leveraging their unique skill set to provide strategic insights. They're moving beyond simply identifying issues to offering solutions that drive business performance. This transition requires a shift in mindset and approach.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, how valuable do you think internal audit insights are in strategic decision making?
Incredibly valuable. Internal audit insights provide a comprehensive view of an organization's risks and opportunities. CAs can offer data-driven recommendations that inform strategic decisions, from resource allocation to market expansion. Their ability to connect financial implications with operational realities is particularly crucial.
That's a great point. What skills do you think CAs need to develop to become effective strategic partners?
Beyond technical expertise, CAs need to develop strong business acumen, strategic thinking, and communication skills. They should be able to see the big picture, understand industry trends, and effectively articulate complex ideas to diverse stakeholders. Developing these skills can really set a CA apart in this role.
I couldn't agree more. Actually, I recently came across an interesting case study that illustrates this transition. It was about a CA who moved from being an internal auditor to a key strategic advisor. Are you familiar with this case?
I believe I am. Was this the case where the CA's insights led to a major strategic shift in the company's international operations?
That's the one. The CA in question identified potential risks and opportunities in the company's global supply chain through advanced data analytics. Their recommendations led to a restructuring that significantly improved efficiency and profitability.
It's a great example of how CAs can influence major corporate decisions. In this case, the CA's ability to translate complex data into actionable insights was crucial. It really demonstrates the strategic value that CAs can bring to an organization.
Absolutely. Now, for CAs aspiring to take on these elevated roles, what advice would you give them to build credibility and influence within their organizations?
Great question. I'd say it's important to consistently deliver high-quality work and demonstrate a deep understanding of the business. CAs should proactively seek opportunities to contribute beyond their traditional scope, perhaps by volunteering for cross-functional projects or presenting insights to senior management.
That's solid advice. Building relationships across the organization is also crucial, isn't it?
Definitely. Networking within the organization helps CAs understand different perspectives and gain support for their recommendations. It's also important to continually update their skills, especially in areas like data analytics and emerging technologies.
Absolutely. Now let's shift our focus to the career paths and opportunities available for chartered accountants in internal audit. How do you see the entry-level positions and career progression in this field?
Well, there's a wide range of opportunities for CAs in internal audit. Typically, they might start as junior auditors or audit associates, working on specific aspects of internal audits under supervision.
That makes sense. And how do you see the career progression from there?
As they gain experience, CAs can move up to senior auditor roles, then to audit managers, and potentially to leadership positions like chief audit executive. The progression often involves taking on more complex audits and greater responsibilities.
Speaking of complexity, I've noticed that there are various specializations within internal audit. Could you elaborate on some of these?
Certainly. Some common specializations include IT audit, which focuses on information systems and cybersecurity, and fraud investigation, where CAs use their skills to detect and prevent financial fraud. There's also operational audit, compliance audit, and environmental audit, among others.
That's quite diverse. It seems like there are opportunities across different industries and sectors, too. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. CAs with internal audit expertise are in demand across various sectors, from finance and banking to manufacturing, healthcare, and even government organizations. Each industry brings its own unique challenges and opportunities.
That's interesting. I recently heard about a CA who transitioned from a traditional banking audit role to leading the internal audit function for a tech startup. It really showcases the versatility of the profession.
That's a great example. It highlights how CAs can leverage their skills across different sectors. The analytical and risk management skills developed in one industry can often be applied effectively in another.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about global opportunities. How do you see the international demand for CAs with internal audit expertise?
The global demand is strong and growing. Many multinational corporations are looking for CAs who can navigate complex international regulations and business practices. This often leads to exciting opportunities for travel and exposure to diverse business environments.
That sounds promising. Speaking of promising, what can you tell us about the salary trends and job market demand in this field?
The job market for CAs in internal audit is quite robust. Salaries tend to be competitive, especially as you move up to senior positions. According to recent data, experienced internal audit professionals can command significant salaries, particularly in sectors like finance and technology.
That's encouraging. Do you have any tips for CAs looking to advance their careers in internal audit?
Certainly. Continuous learning is key. Stay updated with the latest audit techniques and technologies. Pursue relevant certifications like the Certified Internal Auditor CIA designation. Also, develop your soft skills. Communication and leadership are crucial as you move up the ladder.
Now let's focus on preparing for a career in internal audit. For chartered accountants looking to enter or advance in this field, what additional certifications would you recommend?
Great question. While the CA qualification is an excellent foundation, there are several certifications that can complement it. The Certified Internal Auditor CIA designation is particularly valuable. It demonstrates expertise in internal auditing practices and can open up new career opportunities.
That's helpful. Are there any other certifications that CAs should consider?
Absolutely. The Certified Information Systems Auditor CISA is great for those interested in IT auditing. For risk management, the Certification in Risk Management Assurance CRMA is highly regarded. These certifications can help CAs specialize and stand out in the job market.
Speaking of standing out, how important is continuing education in this field?
Continuing education is crucial. The internal audit landscape is constantly evolving, especially with new technologies and regulations. CAs should regularly attend workshops, webinars, and conferences to stay updated. Many professional associations offer excellent resources for ongoing learning.
That makes sense. How about gaining diverse industry experience? Is that important for career growth in internal audit?
Definitely. Diverse industry experience can be a significant advantage. It broadens your perspective and allows you to bring insights from one sector to another. For example, a CA with experience in both manufacturing and finance can offer unique value to clients or employers.
That's interesting. I recently heard about a CA who leveraged their experience in both healthcare and technology to lead a major digital transformation project in a hospital's audit department. It really showcases the power of diverse experience.
That's a great example. It illustrates how diverse experience can lead to innovative solutions. Speaking of which, networking is another crucial aspect of career development. How do you see the role of professional associations in this?
Professional associations are invaluable. They provide opportunities for networking, knowledge sharing, and even mentorship. Organizations like the Institute of Internal Auditors offer resources, events, and platforms for CAs to connect with peers and industry leaders.
Absolutely. These connections can lead to new opportunities and insights. On a similar note, how important do you think it is for CAs to develop a personal brand in the internal audit field?
Developing a personal brand is becoming increasingly important. It's about positioning yourself as an expert in specific areas of internal audit. This could involve writing articles, speaking at conferences, or even maintaining a professional blog or social media presence.
That's a great point. It not only enhances your visibility, but also demonstrates your expertise to potential employers or clients. Do you have any final advice for CAs looking to build a successful career path in internal audit?
Absolutely. My final advice would be to stay curious and adaptable. The field of internal audit is constantly evolving, and those who can embrace change and continue learning will thrive. It's also crucial to develop strong communication skills, as much of the role involves translating complex findings into actionable insights for various stakeholders.
That's excellent advice. I'd add that aspiring internal auditors should seek out mentors and be proactive in taking on challenging assignments. These experiences can accelerate your growth and help you build a strong professional network.
Great points. Now, as we wrap up our discussion on opportunities for chartered accountants in internal audit, let's recap some of the key trends we've discussed. What do you see as the most significant developments shaping the future of this field?
One major trend is the increasing integration of internal audit with other business functions. We're seeing internal audit teams working more closely with risk management, compliance, and even strategy departments. This collaborative approach is enhancing the value that internal audit brings to organizations.
Absolutely. Another important trend is the growing focus on sustainability and ESG, environmental, social, and governance audits. As organizations face increasing pressure to demonstrate their commitment to these areas, CAs with expertise in ESG auditing are in high demand.
That's a great point. We're also seeing the impact of emerging technologies like blockchain and artificial intelligence on internal audit practices. These technologies are both changing how audits are conducted and creating new areas that need to be audited.
Indeed. And let's not forget the evolving role of internal audit in crisis management and business resilience. The recent global challenges have highlighted the importance of robust internal controls and risk management strategies.
Absolutely. These trends present exciting opportunities for CAs in internal audit. As we conclude, what would be your call to action for CAs looking to embrace these opportunities?
I would encourage CAs to be proactive in developing their skills in these emerging areas. Stay curious, embrace technology, and look for opportunities to contribute to your organization's strategic objectives. The future of internal audit is dynamic and full of potential for those willing to adapt and grow.
Excellent advice. Thank you for this insightful discussion on the opportunities for chartered accountants in internal audit. It's clear that this field offers a wealth of possibilities for CAs to make a significant impact in the business world.
Thank you as well. And to our listeners, we hope this podcast has provided valuable insights and inspiration for your career journey in this dynamic and rewarding field. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world of internal audit.